Hey, we're here tonight at the Town Hall meeting in Orange Beach, and we're excited to hear from the residents, not only about the Pirate Voyage dinner show, but just in general. Part of being a city council member is listening to people who voted us into office and to listen to the concerns of the community. And we're all here today to do that with open ears and look forward to being able to engage with our community.
Yeah, so today, first of all, we're going to have a council meeting and take care of our regular business. But then the hot topic for, I guess, the past 2 months has been the Pirate Show. And so what is really fantastic about Orange Beach is this is something that we could have just had a council meeting about and not offered this to the public. But we knew how important it was, how the passion has been online, and so that's why we're here. We're here to hear from our constituents, and I look very much forward to it. And I'll say, I really enjoy serving on the City Council in Orange Beach.
Well, this is the Pirates Voyage Town Hall tonight, and we came to support the people in Orange Beach, the residents who are against this development. If anybody knows anything about planning and zoning, they would know that this is totally incompatible with the surrounding area for the location they have chosen. And I started a petition online, and so far we have almost 1,300 signatures of people in opposition. And I'm looking forward to hearing what they have to say tonight.
Okay, what do we do? I mean, I think we all have ideas of what's going on, where we want to go, but how do we find consensus and find a common path? This is our sewer index. The sewer index is by far the most accurate known indicator of how many folks are here. And essentially since 2021, it's gone up every year. Last 12 months, it's just booming. It's booming. You know, it's funny too, because when I say growth, everybody's got a different, you know, you got developers over here and some folks, not all developers are bad guys, but they don't live here and they want to develop every square foot of every piece of property. And then you got on this side, the person that just drove across the bridge that wants to blow it up behind them. And then you got the person living in a condo screaming about a condo being built next door on property that was owned 30 years for a condo. And then you got the person who moved here yesterday, and this morning they're screaming there's too many people here. And then I remind them that day before yesterday we didn't want you here. So I think y'all sort of get the grief and the conundrum that we're all in, and trying to figure out what does growth mean and what is coming. So what can we do to mitigate it, moderate it, and what can we tolerate? Because we know the summer is a difficult time, but the trade-off is all the stuff. So, you know, we were really in good financial shape, $100 million in cash and reserves. Our assessed property value has jumped to $2.08 billion. Current debt is really low at $125 million at 3%. We're actually making money off of that. We have a $300 million plus capacity of debt if we wanted to. But here's the but. Expenses continue to rise. Capital expenses, capital costs, capital repair, capital replace continues to go up. We have no idea what the inflation rate is going to be, it seems like, from year to year. The national economy really affects us in such a significant way because national economy dictates how much discretionary income our visitors have. So this year they may come with an $8,000 weekly budget, and next year they may only have $5,000. That affects every one of us, retail, lodging, and it's something that we have to be concerned about. You know, and I'll get back to that, but as mayor, and I think our councilmen feel the same way, we're stewards of our quality of life and we want to protect it and add to it. But me, I don't consider myself a mayor, I don't consider myself a politician, I consider myself a CEO of a $120 million company with 700 employees and millions of customers. But this is my board of directors. And that's the way we run this city. And our decisions are made on numbers, facts, correct information, and what we think is best for the big picture, not today, not yesterday, but the 10,000-foot view. And it's easy to say no more growth, but that's impossible. So again, that's why we're here. I'm going to give you, and please forgive me if you've heard this story before, but in 2008, when I walked in as mayor, we were at the height of the financial crisis. The city of Orange Beach was in the red. We were borrowing money from the sewer department reserve fund to make payroll. We were a bloated bureaucracy who thought the good times would never end, and they did. And there's a guy sitting in this audience who was there at that time. It was hard. 3 weeks into it, I had to lay off, terminate, or early retire 40 employees. And back then, our employee workforce was only half of what we have today. So that was a significant number of folks to get us back in the black. We completely reorganized the city from top to bottom. A lot of people went to places they didn't necessarily want to be. A lot of folks were doing more or different from what they used to do. I was by far the most hated man in Orange Beach, but it was a necessary evil. 2009, by the end of it, we were back in the black. We had a more efficient, lean workforce, and we had established fiscal, financial discipline for the city for all departments going forward, because who would have thought the next year, 2010, was the oil spill. So thank God we were in a surplus position and in a good situation to get through that, because it was an extremely, extremely tough time. And like I said, the good times do not always roll. So we have to make hay while the sun shines, when we can. Our quality of life in this town is directly related to the tourism dollars. This building, ball fields, library, pools, it's all about the dollars. Because I don't necessarily see cars, I see dollar bills. And I hate to say that, but from my perspective, that's what I have to see and look for in trying to keep this place afloat. Because eventually, expenses do this, capital costs do this. If we don't pay attention to the flatlining of our revenues, they will intersect. And when they intersect, that changes everything about our life and our quality of life. I had been there. I was there when it happened, so I know what it feels like, and I don't want to go there again. How do you keep that from happening? That is truly a matter for debate, for conversation, and everybody's probably got different views. The business of tourism is unique, with the ability to fly and to go all kind of places, including out of the country now, and cruises. You have to stay on top of your tourist destination. Walt Disney World, Universal, everybody is constantly bringing in new roller coasters, new stuff, because they know if they get stale, people will quit coming and find something new and fresh, a new trinket. Innovative, creative, and constantly evolving is something we have to pay attention to. Not saying that the project on the table is the way to do it, don't know. But I'm just saying we have to pay attention to the product that we offer so that we keep the revenues above the expenses. So what have we done in the past? I'm going to digress. Life is better here, clean, safe, and protected. I think everybody knows how hard we try to work. We have an outstanding police, fire department, emergency medical services, outstanding public works, an employee base across the board that absolutely takes pride in working for the city of Orange Beach. We keep our beaches pristine, because they are pristine, and we are very serious stewards of our natural resources, because that is the revenue source. I don't consider us radical environmentalists, but I consider us very serious conservationists. And by that I mean we find a way to make recreation and the environment work together, and it's not one or the other. Vulgarity ordinance is in place. We did that some time back. Many cities have adopted that ordinance, our ordinance. Believe it or not, the city of Key West adopted our ordinance. They want to be more family friendly. So the mayor called me and we talked about it at length. And I never thought in a million years that would happen, but she called me back and said they did pass it. So they have a goal of becoming family friendly and using us as a model. We've limited body piercing, tattoo parlors, title loan, check cashing, palm readers, mystics, and pawn shops. Now, I buy all my guns at a pawn shop, so I got nothing against pawn shops. But the point is, with these types of businesses lined up down Canal Road or the beach, it's not an era of prosperity. I mean, it's just not. It's not who we are. So I get it when you say that's not who we are. No MTV style spring breaks, no takeovers. Results of our no policy, no pour-outs, no do-overs, no mulligans, is in the last 3 years you see 61, 32, 75 arrests, when in 16 it was 594. So the message of we're not going to put up with the nonsense is getting out there. But the good thing is, and I called grief early on for us going on this campaign from the businesses, because if they thought that was going to hurt their spring sales. If we be patient, we will backfill all this with families. And this spring break was probably the busiest we've ever had with the least amount of problems and the most families here. And that's our new police car. I don't know if you like that or not, but it's sort of like Miami Vice. But we are a sanctuary city. Got to make sure you guys know that. For families. Don't stay that way. So whatever it takes, I think as long as I'm there and these guys are here, I think we're committed to that. All right, growth or no growth, somewhere in between. Again, a couple of comments I saw was, it's always about the money. It's always about the money. Well, yeah, it is always about the money. Because somebody's got to pay the bills. Somebody's got to pay attention to the money. So yes, money matters. Revenues matter. And then another one was, how much money is enough? I don't have enough. But I don't know anybody can say how much is enough. I know most of us that have been a CEO or a business owner, we don't go to bed at night reaching a certain dollar amount of revenue and say, oh, that's it. No more sales. No more marketing. We good. It's going to be good from now. No, we wake up, we go to bed worrying, are they going to come back tomorrow? And that's what I go to bed worrying about, is next year going to be as good as this year. And what could happen. So it's not money for greed. It's not money for status. It's money because that's how you run a business. Not every source of money is a good source of money. We understand that. But to ignore your revenues while you know the expense side is continuing to rise is fool's gold. Fool's play. We got lots of stuff, lots of free stuff, but ain't nothing for free. Somebody's got to pay for it, and we're blessed enough, our revenues come off that beach and from our church. So we got a lot of stuff for an 80,000 person community. I don't think there's anyone in the country with 8,000 permanent residents could say they have what we have. We have low property taxes for our residents, homestead, for that reason. Property taxes are 4 meals. It could be 5 meals, but we could vote another meal in tomorrow. But we leave it at 4 meals because our 4 meals are high. But when you're comparing it to 8, to 12, to 30, we got a good deal on our property taxes for those of us that live here. So how much growth is too much? Legally, what can we do? And that question becomes balancing tourism and quality of life and trying to keep tourism and community separate. And I don't mean that in an ugly way, but I think every one of y'all know what that means. I mean, in the summer, very few of us venture to the beach unless we're going to our new Citizen Beach, but we try to stay out of the quagmire because for 8 weeks to 9 weeks is tough. All right, now I'm going to move into, if it's okay, a little bit about the Pirate Theater project and the process and everything about what could be. And this is not just about this particular piece of property, it's about any piece of property in town that might want to be developed. This is the process. And this is where you please formulate your questions, your thoughts, your comments as you understand, hopefully, again, and I don't mean condescending to anyone, but I don't know, but what I saw on social media was a lot of people did not understand the process. Planned unit development is a zoning designation for out-of-the-box projects. When you have black and white zoning ordinances, unique projects sometimes cannot fit into that box. That's why you have the PUD, but the PUD is strictly dependent upon mayor and council approval. It is never used, since we've been in office, I've been in office, it's never been used as a tool to subvert the zoning ordinances and increase density. It had been in the past. We do not do that and have never done that. There's always a public benefit when we use a PUD. Maybe minor, maybe major, but there's always a public benefit. Never guaranteed approval. Never guaranteed approval. No elected official, no planning commission member should ever commit to a yes or no vote prior to the public hearings. We all should be open-minded, walk into a public hearing not having made our mind up. Now, we could have feelings, but to go out and publicly lobby for or lobby against before the public hearing is wrong. I think it's unethical, and if that's something that you do, you need to stop. But I think our folks know better. They don't do that. I hope they don't. But, so when you ask us, what are your thoughts? Are you for or against it? We really shouldn't say until after the public hearings. Any modification of a PUD, once we approve a PUD, they don't get to do anything they want. They get to do exactly what we approved. And it is very, very specific. So if they want to come back and add something, modify something, change setbacks, whatever, it has to go through PUD modification protocol, which means it has to come back to the council for approval. So a PUD is not the Wild Wild West. It is very, very controlled. We've not done any upzoning for any type of zonings in 18 years. We've never taken a piece of residential property on the beach and turned it into a condo. Any condo you see going up now is on a piece of property that was zoned condo 30 years ago. Now, there's not much left. Most of it is gone. But there's so much confusion out there about every condo being something new that we approved. No, we approved what they had a right to build and have had for 30 years. I got that. Unprecedented growth since Hurricane Sally and COVID. Most of y'all know the boomers are all retiring. Research shows they want to be within roughly 50 miles of some coastal area. The ability to work remotely. How many of y'all experienced that since COVID? Changed a lot. Geopolitical issues with crime and safety in big cities and not so big cities. How many people have you talked to is just getting out of town from those cesspools? Highly successful school system. It is a draw, a huge draw. Unprecedented federal government dollars after COVID created a giant funnels of money all over the country, and all of a sudden people had lots of money to spend, lots of money to buy, lots of places to go. So in some ways we're victims of our own success because everyone wants to be here. So going forward, what are we doing? We're updating a comprehensive plan and zoning ordinances.
Stella Grenning face with cap.
Is that for me?
No.
All right, the moratorium. I don't know how many times I've heard over the years, y'all just need to put a moratorium in place and stop building. Well, you can't do that. A moratorium is a very specific entity. You have to achieve a goal that is authorized statutorily for the public welfare that can't be achieved without the moratorium. You have to have a very specific time frame. You have to identify problems, create solutions, create a plan, and the moratorium. That's what we're doing now with our moratorium. We're looking at discontinued growth. Okay, we brought in I saw this, they have a planner from Nashville planning Orange Beach. That's not true. We brought a consultant in from Nashville to help us fix our comp plan and zoning ordinances to help reduce growth. So we're looking at, with this type of residential growth, the moratorium is everything off the beach because that's almost all residential. What capital improvements are going to be needed to accommodate this unprecedented growth, which could be, believe it or not, including what we own, what's in the city to the north, 40,000 people. 40,000 people. If everything was built out to the max. We're looking at runoff and drainage issues because we know in the city we've got a lot of flat areas. We've got problems with this entity over here rolling this way. It's so flat, there's nothing we really can do to move it here or there. It's just very difficult to move water on this island. Economics and the cost of development, how that affects us financially. How does it affect the tax structure? I'll come back to that. The environmental and land or natural resources impact. And all of that's be looking at, hopefully in September it's going to be ended with the recommendations of what we can do to curb growth in a fair way and legal way. Possible zoning ordinance changes, some we've already done. Wetlands calculated density. For those that didn't know it, if you've got 40 acres and half of it is wetland, you used to could take the whole 40 acres to calculate your density. Now, we only allow you to calculate the density off of just the uplands of that 40 acres, not the entire 40 acres. So that reduces the density. We are trying to eliminate residential and general business. That's where I see a lot of townhomes. It should have never been in general business. General business is a zoning for revenue, and that's the way it should be. Reduction in density and multifamily outside of the beach overlay. Beach overlay is essentially the beach road, north and south. This is all north of that. So if it's, and I'm throwing out arbitrary numbers, so let's just say it's 40 units per acre in a 5-story multifamily building. We want to see can we reduce it to 20 units per acre. Got to see if we can or cannot, but that's what we're looking at. And all of our zoning ordinances are being reviewed, looked at, and see how they can be modified to do a better job of, again, mitigating unmitigated growth. Tax structure. We are wealthy because we have the beach, which is a multi-use zoning. You got ad valorem taxes, property taxes, you got retail, and you got lodging. That pays for itself. That pays for us. Residential or residences, just ad valorem taxes. We try to do the research. We're such an anomaly. We're probably even further outside the norm. But in most cases, the resident demands more of the services of the city than the ad valorem actually pays for. And I've seen it very, very close to us. When you shut down your revenue sources and tap them down, and then you grow exponentially residential-wide, you end up $400 million in debt, and you end up with no surplus. So we have to pay attention to that tax structure balance between how much residential is only property taxes versus the golden goose that's property, retail, and lodging. Defined by right. This is one of those terms that's out there that's been turned upside down in every imaginable way. But by right means anyone can make an application to develop a piece of property. All right, let me go through the process. The staff reviews for compliance based on the zoning. The Planning Commission then considers and approves or disapproves proposed development if it's been determined to comply with the zoning ordinance. Now, I misspoke there. The Planning Commission approves if a entity wants to develop this property and it's zoned residential, RS1, single family homes. Their plan matches up with every box that has to be checked off for that zoning, and by state law, it has to be approved. You cannot disapprove it for no reason. If you do, you're going to get sued and lose. That's case law over and over again. So that's what we say by right. That means they are adhering to the current zoning ordinance, meeting all the criteria, and it doesn't even come to the council. It just goes to the planning commission. By right faux pas. I hesitated to put it in because I didn't want people to think I was trying to be biased, but it is real. And I want to show you what I mean by that. This is the property up on Canal Road where the brown fence is, where they cleared all the trees. The first project was 4 single-family homes, is what they wanted on there. But they wanted some vacation rentals. The neighbors were up in arms. For whatever reason, it didn't get passed. They came back with 15 homes, 12 of which would be vacation rentals. You see a good number of them were on the water. Neighbors got up in arms, and we kept warning them, if they come back by right, it's going to be a big difference. Didn't pass. So what you have today is by right. We never saw it. Just the planning commission. They checked off all the boxes, and now they have 76 single-family homes, when they could have had 4. So when you don't listen to what can be by right, you do that at your own peril. Again, don't mean you're wrong, because you may be wrong. You may be absolutely right in that instant. Another example is on Port Washington. The first proposal was 22 single-family homes, turned down by the neighbors. 24 single-family homes. The next proposal, turned down by the neighbors. The developer said, remember at the bottom there, which is the south end, that was general business. You can do anything in general business. And the developer said, I'm trying not to make this high density. If you'll just let me have the 24 homes, I will not build townhouses or apartments in the general business. The neighbor says, no, we're not. He called their bluff. So that's why you have a single-family residence neighborhood right next to a whole bunch of townhomes that are essentially apartments. That, to me, was not smart. This is the Abbey Road development. I think a bunch of you in Bear Point or East Orange Beach are familiar with that. The request was for 33 single-family homes. It was a PUD. The glitch in it was that they were very close together, very, very crammed together. But it was zoned Marina Resort. Marina Resort is the most liberal of all zonings. You could do almost anything on Marina Resort that you don't go to jail for. So they said, no, we don't want it. It was too tight, it's too this, it's too that. You said, well, I tell you then, I'm going to build 100 apartment units because that's what I can do. And I can actually make more money doing that. Now, thank God, people came around and came to their senses and they let the 33 homes go in there. But they were up in arms in Bear Point and Orange Beach about the thought of there being apartments in their part of town. Okay, this is Beaches RV. People talked about the KOA. It was approved in 2022. 171 spots, 342 vehicles is what we estimate would be when it's full. Approved by the Planning Commission, but the developer disappeared. Never made it happen, so we don't know what happened. We never heard from him. All right, is this the RV park? Okay. All right, this is by right the RV park on that same 24 acres. You can see it's a 30-foot buffer in the rear. I mean, it essentially encompasses the entire piece of property. 198 spots with 16 vacation rental duplexes. There's a portion of that property that's called of its own neighborhood business. So you can put short-term rental duplexes down there. Man, you can't do that too. All right. 556 vehicles, 198 being large motor coaches / fifth wheelers. Retail space. Okay. Help. Mine's going off and on. Do what?
Behind you,
Oh, turn around. Don't we have an IP person in here? All right. By right, it is on mobile home park. I believe this is the mobile home park here. Okay, this is the mobile home park. It would encompass the entire 24 acres. I think it was 99 double wides, 4 bedrooms apiece. This is the max. I'm not saying, I'm just saying we're throwing out what can be done. And used mobile homes are allowed to be brought in. 190, yes. Man, I'm sorry, it's jumping all over the place. Vacation rentals, 32,000 square feet of commercial space. We think about 560 vehicles. And again, majority of the trees will be removed. With any development of this nature, almost all trees will be removed. Our tree ordinance does not allow us to stop development of a property because of a tree. The law does not allow us to do that. I wish, a lot of you, I get that, but it's not a possibility to stop a development because of trees. We have an ordinance that requires them to put trees back in. So if they cut down let's say a 12-inch diameter tree, then they got to put in 3 4-inch trees. But they're not going to be 20 feet tall. It's not going to be the same. But there's just no such thing as stopping somebody from developing their property because of trees. As much as we may like it or dislike it, that's just not true. Retail, and people talk about wanting retail there, so I tried to put some scale and try to get some thoughts about what could go on 24 acres. Tanger is 50 acres. So half of Tanger and that square footage and parking would fit on that space. And we know what the traffic is like with Tanger, especially when it rains. Yeah, it's crazy. Owa is 24 acres. Same thing. The Wharf Main Street is 21 acres with all of its parking. Now, it wouldn't be this configuration, obviously, but the point I'm making is the acreage is the same, so the retail space could be the same as these 3 retail centers. Wharf traffic volume, Main Street, this is the month of June, is 118 vehicles down Main Street for the month. That's just Main Street. For the entire property, 272 vehicles in and out. Now that's including concerts. And the reason we know these numbers is because the wharf has electronic clickers at every entrance. So they count every car that goes through. July.
Mayor, that's thousands.
What did I say? Okay. All right, back up. This is for July. Down Main Street, 126 for the month, 1,000. Okay, entire month for the 3 entrances is 275,000, give or take. And then you can see the breakdown of each one per day. So down Main Street, you got days with 4,000, 3,000, 3,000. I mean, it's really, really busy for that much retail space. And for retail space to work, you're going to have that much traffic. So the retail space on that 24 acres would be a real traffic issue if we allow retail. And just my opinion. The Pirates Voyage, this is the picture of the one in Panama City. And I get everybody's ick factor. I understand. There's, I get it. And I'm not trying to create a biased presentation. I'm trying to create factual information for you to sign. Okay, this is the 24 acres. I talked with the developer because in watching the comments, people were talking about trying to buy the space, and we can't really buy it because it's under contract. We're the one that is reviewing the application. So we can't reach out to try to buy a property that we're approving and denying. Can't do it. If it was on the market and there was no application and no contract, we could buy it. But we would have to have a purpose and a plan and use it for that purpose. But $14 million is a lot of money for a piece of property that may or may not have a real use. Again, I'm the beholder. So we went back to the developer and said, can we buy 12 acres of this and you just keep 12 acres? And they said yes. And the price they gave us was a reduced price relative to what they paid per acre because they kept the quality acreage for what they needed. So again, it's not a contract. It's just they will sell it to us and we established the price. So 12 of the 24 acres would stay natural. This is essentially the layout of the trees. So
Mayor,
yes.
you negotiated a real estate deal to split that property for the city?
Yeah, negotiated for them. If they wanted to sell it to us, if we wanted it, they would sell it to us.
Just half of it? Or
Half of it, 12 acres.
is there a contingency on that?
I'm coming back. Yeah, there is a contingency on the property. So this is what our 12 acres would look like. There's no contract for us. Again, this is my job with the developer is to sit down with them and staff, go through the pros, the cons, make recommendations. And if I hear comments or things, I go back to the developer and say, look, that's just not going to fly. You're going to need to do this, this, and this. And I bring the best product I can back to these guys. That is my job. So what I'm doing is negotiating. Whether I like this or not is irrelevant. My job is to try to bring the best deal to the council as possible. They can turn it down or they can approve it. It's totally up to them.
But it's under contract.
We'll get to this. Let me finish. This is the current drainage on the property. The sort of dotted lines is an elevated ridge. All of the water is pushed to the south into Terry Cove. So we understand that. We do. What we came up with is going back to our purchase, all the water now, they're going to, the ridges will be knocked down. So all the grade will become relatively flat, sloping to the north, to the wooded area to the north. So all the water flows in, moves away from Terry Cove, St. Lucia, Terry Cove Drive, all the little cul-de-sac streets, toward the north, where is it's Terry Cove's property, but it's just they call it a conservation area, wild area, whatever. But it is where the state park water crosses across and moves out to Terry Cove.
Conservation easement? Is that what they have?
Who is that?
And that drainage, Terry Cove.
No, Terry Cove owns all that property. What's it called, Tommy? Yeah, but Shaw's property there to the north. Yeah, it's a common area, but it's a river that moves east and west out of state. Yeah. So that was one of the purposes of, again, trying to do a business deal. Why are we buying property? We're buying property, number one, for drainage benefits. We're buying property, number two, preserve as many trees as we can and as natural a look as we can. And number three is to minimize the overall development of 24 acres. So I think that is in the public interest and justified.
Being a resident.
Doesn't take away the egg factor. I get it. I get it. But that's my job is to get the best deal for them to approve up or down. Traffic concerns, it don't matter what goes there, there's going to be traffic issues. We know that. So much of what we do is the lesser of evils. But one thing that will not go there is it will never stay the same. It is going to be changed. There's been multiple potential buyers for this property, but the numbers have never gotten right. There are people backed up to buy this property. So it's going to sell and it's going to develop. It'll either sell and develop by right, or hopefully, or we'll come up with something we can all agree on that is okay. But I've essentially given you what is possible there. And that's about all that's possible there. Unless you want apartments. So, now there's a lot of traffic questions. So we went to ALDOT. AECOM is their traffic consultant. What is the grade? And this is hard for me to say to y'all because you probably don't want to hear this. Neither do I. But constantly being told that you don't have to approve something because we have too much traffic. That is not true. If it is by right and the state establishes that it is not a traffic concern, we cannot stop it. Now, if it is a PUD and we want to use traffic as a reason, we can do that, but not by right. See, the state of Alabama, they grade their roads A through F. 161 is an AB. You're not going to kill a project on an AB road. The capacity, everything is flowing according to them, 70%. Perhaps 70% efficient. So, I mean, I put this in there just to show that we can't use that, we can't rely on that in by right scenarios. What is the traffic count on Highway 161? Average daily traffic count is 28,400 vehicles. So you can imagine what it is in the summer. Can ALDOT stop development? I'm repeating myself. They require a traffic study. And the current applicant has to submit to a traffic study. But the purpose of the traffic study will dictate what kind of ingress, egress they have. Whether it be right in, right out, whether it be full access, where the accesses will be. But it won't be to tell them they can't develop it. So, specific to the Pirate Theater, we guesstimated, based on the parking lot and what they do in Panama City, it's about 285 cars for a sold-out show. It's about 1,000-seat auditorium. We figured 2.5, 2.4, something like that. Can't remember the multiple persons per car to fill up 1,000. This is a little different from most multiples because it is family geared, so you're probably going to have closer to 3.5 to 4 per car as opposed to 2.5. A little bit about the shows. There's 3 shows in the summer, between 200 and 300 cars, depending on whether they're not all sold out. The good thing about it is the traffic pattern is predictable. And the more predictable a traffic pattern is, the better you can deal with it. So their show times going to the show is all right in. The problem will always be on that property, the left outs, for whatever is there. The upside to their show is the 3 o'clock or 3:30 show is an hour and a half, so it's going to be 4:30 or 5 emptying out. Fridays would be tough. It would be bad. But on Saturdays, if you think about when condo check-in is, when condo checkout is, what are people doing on the beach, the show's actually timed with emptying at the slowest part of 161 movement. In the off-season, there's 2 shows. It's in there in the evenings, no 3 o'clock show. It's entertainment for vacationers. It's not a mecca for new people or more people to come. This is the lighting, very direct lighting. There's no overflow into adjacent properties. And life is better here. So I hope my pontification didn't bore you, but I really thought based on everything we saw on social media, we really needed to address a lot of the issues. And hopefully, I think we tried to present this as fact as best we can. You're welcome to fact check our numbers. You're welcome to fact check anything you want. You have your own numbers. But at this time, we will open it up for discussion. And let me give you the ground rules. Because these are the same ground rules we've had 18 years. It's going to be constructive. We can have civil discourse. Comments are fine. Opinions are fine. Questions, but nothing personal and no personal attacks and no accusations or allegations. If so, I might ask you to sit down. If you come up and make a comment that I think is wrong, or I think you have your facts wrong, then I'm going to challenge you. And I'm not being ugly, I'm not being a bully, I'm really not. But it is a waste of time for people to leave here confused as to what is facts and what's not. So, again, I'm not trying to embarrass or anything, but if you make a statement that is not correct, then I'm going to correct you, and hopefully I can do it nicely. But I can't allow people to leave here with the wrong information. I don't think any of us want that. We want you to be completely informed.
Mayor, can I ask you a question?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So 3 days, 3 shows a day, 285 cars coming out of there. It's going to be right hand in, right hand out, just like the way the state is directing all of the roads now, right?
No, we don't know. That will be ALDOT's decision whether they give them a full access.
But ALDOT, Highway 59 in Gulf Shores, our new median cut road out on the beach road, they right hand in, right hand out. So I can just imagine 285 cars trying to get out of there on a sold out summer day, trying to, if it is right hand in, right hand out, sending all that down to the red light. These folks have got to get back to the beach to the condos. So
we don't want that. We don't want to ride out to send them north. We want a full access for a left turn. And I think that's what they would give us because they know that would be a problem sending them north. So, yeah, but 285 cars, again, I'm not a salesman for Pirate Theater, but facts are facts. 285 cars, we can move those out in 5 to 10 minutes.
And Mayor,
we move 5,000. Please, come on.
Mayor, are they planning on...
Let me finish what I'm trying to explain. In the times when the traffic is preventative for left turns, we will have a police officer there, like we do at Island Church, like we do at St. Thomas Church. 285 cars will be moved out in 5 to 10 minutes. We move 5,000 cars out of a concert in 40 minutes. So again, I'm not trying to sell it, but I'm not going to hide things, and I'm not going to say things that aren't true just because you don't like it. And I'm sorry, but that's the fact. The other shows will be emptying out at 6:30, 8:30. 6:30. The other 2 shows will be emptying out at 8 and 8:30, 10 and 10:30. The traffic at those times on 161 is very low. So they will have the ability to take a left turn and go south. That's just a fact. If you do mobile home park, if you do retail, you have no predictability and you have constant movement in and out. So people complaining about the sidewalks being blocked, it's the same thing with whatever goes there. The traffic is going to be the same. It's going to be the same. It's going to be in and out from anything retail, anything mobile home park, RV lodge. That's the only good thing about Pirate Theater is it's predictable. You know when it will be. May still, again, don't know whether that makes any difference to you or not, but just it's a fact. I'm sorry.
And so they certainly looked at our traffic growth. They plan on being open 12 months out of the year and be profitable? I mean, what?
Well, I don't think they would develop if they didn't think they'd be profitable. And it's not our job.
I get that.
To be
but you've negotiated, or you have been negotiating a deal with them and talking about, possibly buying half the acreage there. But do they really see do they really see, and I know you're a smart businessman, but do they really see 12 months out of the year?
No.
They don't.
They
So
see.
are they planning on closing down during the winter months? The snowbirds aren't going to go to
No,
it.
what they plan is 3 shows in the summer, and then in the off-season, it will be scaled back based on attendance. And then January or February is probably when they will shut down completely, unless we have a strong snowbird contingent. So, again, that's on them. That's their money. That's not, I know you don't, a lot of times, it's not our job to evaluate a business plan and say, we're not going to approve you because you're going to fail. I don't think we've ever done that. Now, I wouldn't want to be the one telling them they're going to fail. But they're basing it on the demographics, the numbers we have, and they've got all the numbers in the world, and they're basing it off their Panama City numbers. So, and I know I said the bad word, Panama City, I get it. So